In this lesson, we learn how to identify congruent sides of two-dimensional shapes. Congruence is a vocabulary word that means same shape and same size. We will be looking at shapes and identifying when two sides of the shape are congruent. Let's start by taking this pentagon and folding it so that two sides line up with each other. I will identify the two congruent sides by coloring them red. Now I will open it up and fold it in half another way and match two other sides. We see that these two sides are also congruent. I will color these two sides with green to indicate they are congruent. Now let's prove the red side is congruent to the green side. I can see that all the sides are congruent, so I can color all the sides blue. There are different ways to show which sides are congruent to each other in a shape. Let's look at a rectangle. I have one rectangle that I will mark and one I will fold to show congruence. They are the same size. First, the traditional way to show congruent sides is to mark each congruent side with a hash mark. Looking at this rectangle, I can see that the top side of the rectangle is congruent to the bottom side. I will mark both sides using one hash mark. I know that the right side of the rectangle is congruent to the left side, and I can indicate that by marking two hash marks on the two sides. Now let's look at the parallelogram. I need to identify the congruent sides first. Another way to determine congruence is to trace the side of the shape and place it on the other side of the shape. Now I will label the two long sides that are congruent with a letter A and the two short sides that are congruent with the letter B. At this level, students may use whatever type of marking they would like to identify the congruent sides of shapes. The three ways we identified congruent sides were with color, letters, or hash mark. In this lesson, we learned how to identify congruent sides of two-dimensional shapes.